Hi everyone and welcome to episode 12 of Knitknacker Natters. I'm Fatema and I'm the host of this crafting podcast, today coming to you from my parents' living room in London. For those of you who know and who have been watching, I am based in Singapore. So usually this is a podcast that's coming out of Southeast Asia, but I'm currently visiting my family. So today is Saturday the 25th of February and I know what you guys are thinking. Oh my gosh, she's got another podcast coming out within a week of her last one. What's all that about? I know, I'm not usually one to podcast so regularly. The aim of this podcast is usually to come out every fortnight, but of late it's kind of been once a month or once every 3 weeks. But we are in the midst of the Wonders of the World KAL, which is a 6-month KAL hosted by myself along with 5 other podcasters from around the world, and we are taking you on a fibre art adventure. The idea of this KAL is to discover the fibre arts continent by continent, explore new designers, explore new dyers, explore new yarns, explore what other creative processes are coming out of countries that we might not know very much about. So we started off in Australia, New Zealand with Grace of the Babbles Travelling Yarns in January, and we are currently in Africa with Sally Jane and the Pink Hair Girls podcast, and next week we'll be moving to Asia. Now I'm supposed to be hosting Asia and I know I'm not in Asia at present, but I am usually. So I am trying to get into the swing of things because I hope during the month of March I will be able to chat to you guys on a slightly more regular basis to my normal routine. So bear with me. Let's hope this works out. Okay, so that's why I'm coming to you now. I actually have a few things to show you, or not. But quite a bit has actually happened in the last week. I went to Unravel, and if you follow me on Instagram, I should mention where you can find me. Instagram and Ravelry, I'm Knitknacker, and I have a website, knitknackercrafts.com, which has information about my tech editing life, and it's where I have my blog where I've started to upload my YouTube videos and show notes. So yeah, that's where you can find me. So getting back to what I was talking about, if you follow me on Instagram, last Friday, was it Friday? I think it was, or was it Saturday? Might have been Saturday. I think it was Saturday. I went to Unravel. It was very spur of the moment. Up until the last moment I was umming and ahhing about it, and I'd been chatting to Grace about this on and off because I wanted to go to either Edinburgh or Unravel, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make either. And towards the end of last week it looked like Edinburgh was probably not going to happen, and so I took the opportunity of having grandparents who can babysit my son, and I hopped on a train from Waterloo to Farnham. And I met some lovely viewers there, and it was a really lovely festival, but I am an introvert and I find it slightly intimidating being amongst so many cool people, so it was fun, but it was hard work to but I really did have a great time, and beyond an amazing kind of marketplace where I bought quite a few things, I had the opportunity to sit in a spinning workshop, which I'm hoping I'll be able to share a little bit more about with you in a sec. But first things first, the excitement on the train. So, on my way to Farnham, I had to change trains. I can't remember where. But anyway, I had to change trains. My second train, I got on, and lo and behold, guess who was sitting right behind me? It was Nathan Taylor, the sockmatician. And I was all in a tiz. I spilt my hot chocolate because I was so excited. My heart was beating so fast. And I didn't have the nerve to get up and say hi. So yes, I was sat behind Nathan Taylor on the train. I actually walked behind him, and at some point shoulder to shoulder with him, all the way to Unravel. And if he were to ever see this, he's probably going to think I'm a bit of a stalker. But it was one of the most exciting things that happened at Unravel. And for all you lovely friends across Instagram, thank you for encouraging me to go up and say hi. The plan had been, I didn't have the courage whilst I was on the train or walking up to where Unravel was being, the exhibition centre. But if I had bumped into him again during the course of the day, I was going to go up and say hi. I didn't see him again. But thank you everyone for the encouragement. I don't know if I would have done it, but that was the intention. So that was my excitement on the way to Unravel. I got there expecting really long queues because that's what I had seen the day before, but I probably arrived at a really good time. And I got to participate in the morning workshop run by the West Sussex Guild, and it was so exciting. It was brilliant. Some of you will know that I have tried my hand at a little bit of drop spindling, and I kind of felt like I needed a bit more encouragement and a bit more visual kind of learning to happen. And I thought this was a fantastic opportunity. And it was. The ladies at the Guild were lovely. And they took us through the whole process of preparing your fibre through to plying. And that's what I managed to do. So we saw a big drum carder. We learnt how to pick out locks and place them on the drum carder and on hand carders. So we then kind of prepared our own batch of fibre on hand carders, which we then spun. I think I have a picture of me hand carding, or at least posing whilst I was hand carding, so I'll try and stick it in here. They kept saying to me that it's like combing a baby's hair, but it's, my arms were hurting, so I was probably doing it a little bit too vigorously. But it was really interesting seeing that process up live and taking part in the process. I've been kind of living vicariously through Grace, who has been on this huge spinning adventure, and it was great to be doing something that I've seen her do and wanted to do myself. So like I said, I prepared the fibre by hand carding it, and then we created made a rolag, and then I did some drop spindling. Once I'd finished my drop spindling, I learnt to ply. Now, I can't for the life of me remember what the technique for plying, or the technique that he showed us for plying was called. Some kind of braid. If I can figure it out, I will put it down below. If not, it was some kind of braid thing. And then I used a niddy noddy to wind up a skein. And I'm going to show you what I did. Now, can you see that? Let me show you. So it's probably like a super bulky kind. Oh, 2-ply yarn. Or maybe it's not. It's just the skein. Hang on. I don't know. An Aran worsted kind of weight, thick and thin. This fibre, I think Grace asked me what fleece to use, and I think it was a Jacob, and it was kind of this lush blacky brown with bits of white, and when I kind of prepared the fibre, I kind of mixed it up to get this grey. Sorry, the lighting isn't great, and I tried putting the light on, but it didn't make that much of a difference, so I decided not to. Can you see that? So yeah, and I am super happy with this. Now, whether or not I can do it myself, who knows? But the aim is to try. I went and bought some fibre from John Arbon. I'm going to show that to you now. Oh, that's kind of getting washed out. Ah, sorry, that's really bad lighting. Not really that much better. It's basically some BFL, and the ladies at the guild had said that I wanted something like BFL to get started on spinning. You wanted something a little bit grippy to make it a little bit easier to spin and to kind of get into the habit of spinning. So I also had a little chat with John Arbon. I have filmed it. It was a little bit dark. If I can salvage some of it, I'm going to try and insert it here. Or insert it at some point in this video. So hopefully I can share that with you a little bit later on, once we've maybe had a chat about some of the things that I've been working on. But seeing as we're on the subject of kind of my spinning workshop, let me show you some of the spinning that I did. It's only a teeny weeny bit, but kind of I was riding the wave. So this is my Spin City Spindle, and I kind of started from scratch, did my own knot, had my own leader. I've done about this much, so it's not very much. I did this over one evening. I say about 10-15 minutes of an evening, and the idea was to try and do some every day. It hasn't happened so far, but I've got this on my bedside table, so it shall happen. But there were a few things that needed to take precedent this week, so and this is a work in progress. Talking of spindles, I want another spindle, but I want a good one, and I would love some suggestions. This one is light. Now, I don't know if an experienced spinner would call this light, but I think it's light. And I kind of like the concept of having a Turkish spindle. I like the way that you kind of wind the yarn once you've spun it, or the fibre once you've spun it. And and how you can just take off the legs and there you have a ball. Suggestions please, Turkish and otherwise, nothing horrendously expensive, because obviously I'm a beginner and that would be silly if it's not something I'm going to take up long term. But I do like the idea of a Turkish spindle. Yeah, so anyway, whilst we were there, I met Sue, who is part of the guild. She's also a podcaster, and she talked me through some spindles, and I'm gonna share that with you now.
Hi, I'm Sam. You can find me as Knit Run Dig on YouTube, where I have a podcast, and I'm Stealth Dragon on Ravelry if you want to get in touch with me there. And I'm going to introduce drop spindles to you.
Great.
So the first, I've got 3 different sorts of drop spindle here to show you. And drop spindle is the most portable and easy way to get started with spinning. You can see that there's fibre that's already been started on its journey into yarn on each of these. And I'll start, this is the most simple form. This is a top whirl spindle, and it's quite heavy, and you can see that it's got thick fibre on it. You can also buy spindles that have bottom whirl on it, but these are easier to start with because they're more easy to control. And we have a Turkish spindle here that's in process. So you can see that that has the weight at the bottom, but it's also got these cross pieces on it, and you can take those off. You slide them off the spindle, pull out the arms, and you've got a ready-made ball, so it's much easier to ply, and you can see how nicely that spins. And then we have, that's a 3D printed Turkish spindle, which you can buy online. And then this one is a trindle, which you can also buy online. And so that's a top whirl spindle, but you can adjust the weight and take out the 3 pins that you have to, depending on the fibre that you want to spin and how fine you want to spin it, or if you're plying, then that's why you would want to adjust the weights of this. And so that's a basic introduction to drop spindles. There are lots more, but these are the ones that I'm familiar with.
Okay, so moving on to what I've been up to, I have 2 finished objects. Yay! My Curious Collective shawl by Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade Podcast is finished. It was bound off yesterday, I think, yesterday morning, and it is currently blocking. So you can't see it, but I will insert a picture. If by the time this is edited and about to be uploaded it is dry, I will try to show you a blocked picture. Otherwise you'll get a picture of it blocking or pre-blocking. I used a bear skein by Hugh Loco for it, for the lace, and the main body was in a skein by the Fawn and the Fox, in her fawn base, which is an MCN, in a peach which has kind of streaks of green, the occasional blip of blue or purple or red in it as well. It's really, really pretty. I'm in love with it. It's actually a gift for my sister-in-law, so I really hope she loves it. It's been knit with a lot of love, and yeah, I knit it on 4mm needles, and it was really fun. It's probably the longest shawl that I've knit, kind of wingspan wise. I haven't measured the kind of the end product, but yeah. So that was my first finished object, and the second finished object, which actually got finished first, was my NYX hat, which is by Libby Johnson. It is currently blocking, and this was a test knit. See, obliterated face. it was a test knit for her, and it's such a lovely knit. It knits up really fast, and I did it in this small size. I'm hoping that the balloon isn't too big. I did try measuring it as I was blowing it up, but look at this. How gorgeous is this? And look at the crown. So she has the option of putting a pom-pom on top, but I love the crown. When pre-blocked, the rim was a little bit tight on me, but I'm assuming that it's going to have bloomed or blossomed, as they say. This is knit in Hannah of the Curious Tonic Handmaids Pageant DK, and it was knit on, I want to say 5 and 5.5mm needles. Really fun, and actually once you get going really fast, I don't love ribbing, and so that probably took me the longest amount of time. I finished it several days ago, but I haven't gotten around to blocking it, so it is now blocking. I totally encourage everyone to get out there and get this pattern when it comes out, because it's really lovely. So yeah, that's my second finished object. It's still wet. Okay, what else have I been working on? So I did a little bit more on my vanilla sock. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Oh gosh, the colours are really being blown out. There we go. Okay, so this is sock 2. I showed you the other one last week. I am on the final stripe before I have to put in the heel. So this is where I was when I showed it to you last week, and this is how much I've done. So just over a repeat. This came with me to Farnham, as did the hat. And I'm doing them on 2.25mm 9-inch circs, which I'm enjoying so far. The yarn is by the Cozy Knitter. It's called Party Princess, and it's fun. Yes, it's fun. So it's going to have a contrasting heel. Yeah, well, not really contrasting, but you know what I mean. So I'm hoping I can kind of, I would love to finish them before the 1st of March, but let's see. And they're in my Mrs. Brown's bags. Oh, I think this is the best lighting. There we go. And the other thing that I have just started working on yesterday was my virus blanket, which is such an old whip. So I don't know if you guys remember, but last week I had said that I had brought some whips with me. I have my Asia projects planned for March, but I brought some whips with me that were hopefully near kind of finishing, so that when and if I get time I can try and do or finish as many of them off as possible. And this was one of them. So the virus blanket was supposed to be, was supposed to be a baby blanket for my niece. She was born last year. This is still not finished. I did about a repeat. I've done a repeat since yesterday. It needs to be a lot bigger. My mum was saying to me, was this the best idea, considering it has so many holes? So I don't know if my niece is going to get it now. It is knit out of King Cole bamboo cotton, and this is the DK weight one. They do have a 4-ply. in this kind of grey, yes, it's called grey, and then fuchsia. So yes, and it's being housed in my strawberry shortcake sock nanny. I'm crocheting this with a 4mm clover hook, and it's actually really simple to do, but it's one of those projects I can't really take on the go because it's kind of a little bit bulky. So it's kind of currently on my bedside table project, and no needle, so my son won't get poked if it's just lying around, which is always good. So those are the two kind of whips that I've been working on after my finished objects. Let's break it up. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I got at Unravel before I move on to showing you the other whips that I brought with me. Bear with. So there were some amazing dyers at Unravel, and you know, if I had all the money in the world and all the time in the world, I would have loved to have stopped and browsed and poked and prodded, but it was actually really busy. I had decided that what I was going to do was make a list of the things that I wanted, and actually the majority of what I wanted was kind of notions, or specifically wanted was notions, and the other stuff was more kind of to have a look around and then see what was on offer and decide accordingly. So the idea was to go all the way around once and then kind of come back. I think if I had been back the next day, that might have worked, but I kind of found all the notions places and then completely forgot to go notions. So that kind of plan went to pot. I did pick up some yarn. So this skein here is this kind of lime green, kind of some baby blue and speckled darker greens, and it's just a gorgeous skein by Stranded Dye Works, who have a store on Etsy, and also the Stranded Dye Works podcast, which I didn't know. This colourway is called Oasis. There you go. And it's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. And I am debating whether or not to use this for my Wow Europe project. But let's see. Sorry, it's very blown out. There we go. It's really pretty. Oh, look at this. It's got some speckles of black in it as well. So yes, do check them out. I also came across some Sweet Georgia, and I couldn't help myself, because who hasn't heard about Sweet Georgia because of the Grocery Girls? And this is their Tough Love sock in the gelato colourway, and it's so soft. Like, you would think it's almost an MCN. It's that soft. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I saw it and I thought, I can't get this in Singapore, so I'm going to go for it. So that was my other purchase. And then I came across Fine Fish Yarns. Now, this is an Irish company, and I've forgotten the name of the girl that runs it, but she was lovely, and she had some beautiful yarn, and I really couldn't decide. So I opted for these yarn cakes, which are kind of like sock blanks, which she's wound up into cakes, and they're gradients. And she was explaining the reason why she does this. She was saying that she wanted a gradient that wasn't kind of didn't have sudden changes in colours. So she kind of had sock blanks, which she kind of made into gradients and then wound into cakes to make it kind of more gradual, which I like the idea of. And I got two. They were exactly the same, but one is kind of wound inside out. And I am thinking of making my son a corner to corner crochet blanket with this. I'm really excited. Even managed to find a 3.5mm hook yesterday. So yeah, that is the plan. But these guys are great. Let me show you their label. It's so cute. There we go. And this is, did I say it's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. It's 425 meters in 100 grams. I just love this rainbow. In fact, it's really, really pretty. Kind of ending in like a purple. Can you see that? So that was that. And then I got myself some stitch markers. And who doesn't need some hand cream, especially in the UK? So some hand cream. And obviously I showed you the fibre beforehand. So that was my kind of Unravel purchases. I was really happy with them. There were a few other places that I wanted to get stuff from. I've forgotten the name of the store, but there's this lovely lady who makes watermelon skeins, and I do have a card for her, so I will try and pop the information down below. But she was saying that I think she was knitting up some socks with her watermelon yarn, and she was saying how this kind of skein, these colourways take months and months of preparation, so she kind of only does a batch of these colourways once a year, sometimes twice, and she does them both kind of for socks and for shawls, if I'm not mistaken. And I kind of moseyed over and was like, "Ooh, do you have any more of this?" And she was like, "Really sorry, we're sold out." But I have put my name on her email list, and I hope that means that I will find out when she's next going to be making some, so that I can see if I can get my hands on it. But it was really pretty. I think I took a picture. Let's take a look. So yes, that's kind of Unravel in a nutshell. I'm going to show you some of the whips that I have. So my sock satchel bag. This is supposed to be done because I wanted to have it ready for my son for whilst he was here. This is the grandpa cardigan. Do you guys remember? So it needs a collar and button band and sleeves. I don't know if it's going to get done, but I need it to be done because it's not going to be big enough for him for next time round. So I think it's possibly going to be the next thing after I finish my virus, or seeing as the virus blanket is crochet, this should be the knitted thing that I work on. But let's see. So there's that. Oh, this is something I can't wait to get back to. This is my Blustery Shawl by Marsha Buki. And again, this is on hold for the moment, but it's so lovely. And have you seen Kelly? I'm Uninspired has made about 3 of these. She just whips them out. So I really want to get to this, but it's not the most important of my, or rather it's not the one that I need to get finished straight away. If I don't get this cardie finished for my son, I'm going to have to rip it out because it's just not going to fit him next time around. So that's the other whip, and that's in my Stitch and You bag, which I love. And then this one is my Midnight in Sydney. Again, this is not going to take me long. I'm on the lace section. I just have to get down to it. My debonair yarns. I want to knit on all of them, but I have, today's the 25th. I have 3 days. 3 days before Wow Asia, where I want to be predominantly working on kind of Asian patterns. So let's see. So many things to do. All the whips. I'm trying to, I brought these along because I thought if I've got at least 1 or 2 of them finished by the time I go back, that mountain of 15 will have depleted slightly, and that will be a bit more encouraging for me. Do what I can do. Okay, so giveaway time. I posted on Instagram that Meg Gadsby, who is a British-Australian designer, had come out with a pattern called the Fallsberry shawl. And she has very, very kindly gifted the podcast, or rather she's gifted one of you guys the pattern. But you need to enter the giveaway to be eligible. There is a prompt on my Ravelry group. Oh, I've not mentioned, I have a Ravelry group. It's called Knitknacker Natters Podcast. You've just got to answer the prompt, and if I'm not mistaken, it's something as simple as what Australian yarn would you use to kind of knit this up. And the reason for the prompt was because I think we'd just finished the month of Jan, and I was hoping that all of you would be very, very inspired by Grace's overview of what that region has to offer in terms of yarn, and that you would be willing to share with us what kind of things you'd like to knit with. So try and enter that. I'm gonna probably announce it next week. I want to give you guys as much of an opportunity to enter as possible. So do please pop along to the thread in the group. It's not going to take you very much time, and you get a free pattern. Okay, so 3 or 4 days until Wow Asia 2017 starts. Have you guys been doing your research? I have. And I'm hoping that we'll be going on this journey of discovery together. I finalised the knit along rules for my month. So when we leave Africa, the Cal will hop on over to my Ravelry group, and I already have a Wow Asia chatter thread open. And if you read the first post, I have my cow rules, which are possibly a little bit complicated now I think about it, but I hope that you will bear with, and I will repeat them every time, so hopefully there's no confusion, or if there is, just get in touch with me. So it's going to be, we're having a two-pronged approach. So with Asia, I wanted to do something that was quick and easy, that hopefully people can do in that month, so in the month of March, and enter into a giveaway. But I know that sometimes it's difficult for people to get things finished, or they've ordered yarn that they've not received, and so I wanted something that they can kind of be eligible to enter until the end of the 6 months is over. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have a 1 month KAL, which is an amigurumi KAL, because Japanese knitting, Japanese crochet has to be done. And actually, when we start, we're going to be starting with some chat about some Japanese stuff. So I'm going to have a 1 month KAL, which is all about amigurumi. And I'll be chatting more to you about amigurumi in my first podcast in March. And all you have to do to enter is basically knit or crochet an amigurumi item and enter it into the FO thread that I will be opening. The item has to have been started in March. It doesn't have to be an Asian design, because we're using the concept, an Asian concept in this craft. However, if you use a pattern by an Asian designer, you get to enter or post your finished object twice. So that's pretty exciting. The second one is just a general kind of Asia KAL. So find yourself some Asian yarn, either indie dyed or commercially produced. Find a designer, a designer from Asia, and there is a lot to choose from. I've started compiling a list. It's small just because it takes forever to go through, and sometimes boundaries of countries are a bit iffy. So we kind of are in the situation where we're going, does this fall into Asia? Does this fall under Europe? And it might just be because there are people who travel around from country to country, people who want to be known for their ethnicity over their birth nationality, or whatever. I'm relatively flexible. It needs to have some kind of association with Asia to be eligible, but you need to be able to justify it to me. So a question that Grace and I were discussing was Mina Phillip. Everyone knows Mina Phillip. Congratulations, Mina, on the arrival of baby Layla, who is very cute. What does she fall under? Does she fall under Europe? Does she fall under Asia? Does she fall under North America now? I think Grace had a chat with Mina, and Mina said she was completely flexible. So Grace said I could claim her for Asia. She is Iranian, born in the UK, brought up in the UK, has been living in the Middle East for a while, and has now moved to North America. So I'm going to claim her. So if you want to knit up a Mina Phillip pattern, by all means, it's absolutely fine. If you have any queries, please do pop along to the thread and ask away. I might message you privately unless it's something that I feel a lot of people are going to benefit from knowing about. Just because the chatter thread is a general chatter thread. I want you to discuss kind of patterns you're going to be knitting or crocheting. I want you to be, showing us your yarns. And if I keep chatting away, it just makes it a bit more complicated when I have to draw names out for prizes. And that's kind of why I haven't been as active as I would like to be. I am reading so far I have, where possible, kind of replied, but I might take a bit more of a backseat and see. So if you have any kind of burning questions, ask away, and I will try and answer. If it's something that you think you can ask me privately, do that. Either way, I'm fine about it. Instagram and Ravelry is absolutely fine. Don't forget, there's a double dip thread over on the Wonders of the World KAL group as well. So lots of opportunities for prizes. And talking about prizes, if anyone would like to donate prizes for the month of March for Asia, please feel free to get in touch with me. So far, I have a couple of patterns. I have an amigurumi book to give it away. I think I have some yarn too, but the more the merrier. And I want people to showcase what their wear. So if you're a maker and you want to showcase your stuff, by all means, get in touch with me. One of the things I'm going to say is, for any of you out there in Asia, I would love to hear from you, especially if you're part of a knitting group or a spinning group or a guild, because sometimes Asia isn't so much on the fibre arts map, and we want to change that. That's kind of the purpose of this journey, to open the world out so that we can all see and discover what you guys are up to. So if you are part of a group in Asia, or just a crafter at home, I'd love to hear from you, because we'd love to kind of have a little bit of your life on the podcast so that we can share it with the rest of the world. So do get in touch, and if you know of anyone who's in Asia who might be interested, please tell them to get in touch with me, because I'd love to hear from you guys. So that's pretty much a wrap for today. I think I've been for a while now. I'm very excited about Wow Asia. I've got some work to do for it, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Enjoy Africa. My family originally from Africa, so it's something I've been very excited about. But yes, enjoy Africa, and we shall see you over in Asia in a few days' time. Take care. Bye bye. I'm going to film it.
Do a dance routine. Okay, so what we've got here are tops, and they're different fibre tops which we process and make in our mill. So we take it from raw fibre, and they're what they're called comb tops. And what we do to get them to a comb top is a lot of preparation. So we card it initially, opens all the fibre up.
Yep.
And then we would gill it to make all the fibres nice and parallel.
Okay.
We run it through a comb, which removes all the short fibres and any vegetable material, so you end up with very clean, slightly uneven tops. So we run them through another machine to even the tops, so we've got this nice, even rope of fibre for the top.
How long does
all the fibres sit really nice and parallel.
How long does the process take?
Well, you could run 60 kilos in a day.
Oh wow.
Process, yeah. To a finished top. So, and then obviously every fibre is different, so that we work them differently depending on what the fibre is. So you've got a set machinery according to the type of fibre. And then when we've got tops, we can then dye them, or we dye the wool sometimes and then use it. So what you've got here though is dyed tops.
Yep.
Okay? So they've gone to the dyers, come back dyed, then we start blending the different coloured tops together, like mixing paints, so you can create different colours that way.
Sure.
So you can do that with a different range of fibres as well.
Okay.
And then you can blend the different fibre types, the natural types together, to give the different tops different qualities. So when we spin a yarn, forms differently, looks differently, depending on what the end purpose is.
Okay. What's your most popular fibre?
Me
fibre
personally, my favourite,
What's popular for buyers?
merino. Everybody loves merino because it's so
Okay.
soft. We saw a Falkland merino from the Falkland Islands.
Okay.
It's very, very fine, very soft fibre. So everybody likes soft fibres.
Yeah.
More next to that, I suppose, is a Blueface Leicester or our export Blueface.
Okay.
Blueface Leicester is a British wool. It's a very luster wool and very soft.
Yeah.
Not as soft as a merino, but there's been a resurgence in more British breeds, so it doesn't always have to be really fine and soft.
Yeah.
So next to that we've got our Exmoor Blueface, which is a crossbreed actually between
Okay.
Blueface Leicester and another breed called an Exmoor Wool.
Okay.
And it's a bit crisper, but it's a good, because great definition when it's spun into a yarn and then knitting.
So once what's more popular? People buying kind of the tops from you or buying your yarn? Because your yarn's really, really popular.
Yeah, both have got a good reputation for preparation of quality tops. So hand spinners love it. We're good at doing different colours and different blends and interested in more than sort of the run of the mill. Excuse the pun. And the yarns, because it's all our own mill and all our own process, and you're going to build all our own yarn, all our own process, we're able to tailor and make exactly what we want. So we're unique in that respect, so I suppose that makes it different to other yarns that are more commercial spun that everybody buys and dyes. We're doing our own special thing.
So how long have you been doing this for?
16 years.
Okay. And has the industry changed?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was training in textiles, which was long before that, the industry was on its knees in this country. And you had a lot of synthetic and acrylic knitting yarns and things like that. So that market was kind of dead. So what we've seen is a resurgence in natural fibres. And since the demise of a lot of the British mills, because of the sort of niche market, there's been a resurgence and a lot more people getting into it, a lot younger people getting into it, and more discerning about where it's coming from, what it is, you know, rather than just buying something that's cheap and nasty and a bit synthetic. It's all about the quality, where it's come from, you know, being able to attach some sort of journey to the fibre. It's more important, I think.
And where do you normally get your fleeces from?
Either from the wool board or directly from the farms, or via, we've got a wool agent who works on our behalf, sourcing in the UK and in the Falkland Islands.
Okay, so it's mainly kind of British yarns that you...
we try and source as much as we can from our own doorstep. So Wensleydale, our Devon Wensleydale, our Devon Blueface Leicester, our Devon Export Blueface, Devon's Warblers. We're doing a lot of that. We're quite keen on promoting them. The new range, this is called Devonia, it's all Exmoor fibres.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.